My name is Solis Belizaire, and I am here to talk about the human race and how running impacts communities of color. So a lot of times people ask me what inspired me or when did I start running, and I always refer back to when I was a kid. Young girl, my dad used to take me to the park and we'd run around the track, and I would go into school and we'd line up with other students and we'd race, and I was very fast, very, very fast, and I'd always come in first place. But as life moved on, I went into high school and I had a little ups and downs in life, and my mother became incarcerated. And while my mother was in prison, one of the things I wanted to do to free my time, because I had to spend all day in school, was join the track team. So I decided I'm going to join the high school track team. I was always fast at running, played a lot of sports, and I decided I'll do something different. I will do long distance running. Very, very new to me. So I remember the first day of my track meet. My father was there in the stands. People were cheering us. I got to the starting line. Gun went off, and I started to run. Within the first, couple seconds, I caught a cramp. And it wasn't just like a little cramp. It was like your dying cramp, like I can't do this. What did I sign up for? But I knew that my dad was in the stands and he was screaming. I could hear him laughing, actually. He was laughing a little bit like, what is she doing? What is going on? And he's screaming, don't come in last place. And in my head, at 14 years old, I'm thinking, don't come in last place. I cannot come in last place. So I'm putting all my might inside of me, and I'm running, and I'm trying to catch up with everybody, and I'm coming along the last, curve, and I'm starting to catch up with all the runners. And there's one girl that's behind me, and I make it right across that finish line. You know when people cross that finish line, you ever see like Usain Bolt, and he's got that look on him, right? Like he just won the world. So there I was, and I crossed that finish line, and I came in second to last place. Because there was no way in this world I was going to catch up to the people that were ahead of me. And my dreams of being a runner, the one that I had since I was a little girl, pretty much kind of died at that day. I tried it a couple more times, didn't do too well, and I was like, how did this happen? I was always this fast runner when I was a kid, and all of a sudden, I can't even run. So anyways, I get into my 30s, and my twin sister calls me, and she says, it's our birthday. I'm going to sign us up for this thing called the Color Run. And of course, in my head, I'm thinking, I always wanted to be a runner. I always wanted to be a runner. So there I am, and I go with my sister, and we've done the whole tutu. We've got the matching twin outfits. She signs us up. We're all excited, and it was such an amazing experience. It was so much fun. Yes, I was out of shape, couldn't run a foot to save my life, walked pretty much the whole thing, but I had such a great time. And I was thinking, how can I do more of this? So I called my friend and I said, I just did this 5K run. And he says to me, 5K? I do 100-mile races. And I'm thinking, can you just let me bask in my glory for a second? Can I just enjoy my, little 5K run? And he says, well, you want to be a runner, right? And I said, well, I've always wanted to be a runner. It was always my dream. And he said, well, you can sign up for this thing called the New York City Marathon. And now, of course, I'm thinking, the New York City Marathon? Like, telling an adult they can run the New York City Marathon is like telling a child they're going to Disneyland, okay? Like, you get excited, how do you get there? What do you have to do? I have zero clue. So he tells me I have to sign up for this program, this New York Roadrunner program, which is a 9+1, which is 9 races, 1 volunteer. And there's only 10 races left. So there I am, signing up for these races, and I'm so excited, I'm gonna be a runner, and he bails on me the night before. And of course, I'm thinking, oh my God, I don't even know what I'm doing. Do I go? Do I not go? Do I go? Do I not go? I gotta go because I already signed up for these races, so I gotta go. So I get there that day and I'm at the race and I had such an amazing time. Of course, I took a million pictures with strangers because, I gotta make it look like I knew somebody there, which I didn't. But I had such an amazing time, and I kept thinking, I want to do more of this. I have 9 more races to go, so I gotta find a team. I gotta find somebody. And when I started looking at the statistics online, I found out that 90% of runners are Caucasians that run races, Caucasians. And only 5% are Latinos, and less than 2% are African Americans, which was completely shocking to me. So I would go online, and I'm trying to find a group that I feel like I could resonate with, Latinos, Latin runners, something. Couldn't find anything. So I would tell people, we should start this group called Latinos Run. Nobody's taken the website name. I bought it. We got to do this. And of course, my friends are thinking, they're saying to me, Latinos don't run. And I'm like, why do people say that? Why do people keep telling me that African Americans and Latinos are fat, lazy, heavy? Why do people have this misconception of who we are? I know we're out there working out, but I know that we maybe don't get the attention that we need. So I just kept telling people, and time would go on, and I kind of put it to the side because people used to say my idea was dumb and was stupid. So life would have it, I had my ups and downs, and I went through a really rough path of my life. Lost my job, lost my apartment, lost my boyfriend, and I was sitting there in a new apartment, broke out of my wits, probably 20 bucks, if even, to my name. Couldn't pay my phone bill, couldn't pay next month's rent. I didn't know what I was gonna do. I just knew that I wasn't gonna call nobody. I just had to figure it out. So at the edge of my bed that night, I called this trainer that used to harass me, those trainers that always say, can I work, give you a workout for 100 bucks that I could never afford. So I called him and I said, hey, you wanna start this group called Latinos Run? And he said, sure. And I said, sure, yes? And he's like, yes. I said, yes. And he's like, yes. And I said, yes. And he goes, yes. Like, we're going to do this. So that day, on the edge of my bed with about 20 bucks in my pocket, no way to pay my rent, my phone bill, anything, we started this group called Latinos Run. And when I started the group, the first thing I started to do was ask people, why do you run? What inspires you to run? What's your story behind it? And about 80 to 90% of the people I would find out about were dealing with anxiety, depression, health issues. And it was almost always similar stories with each other. And people would come from far away just to come run with us. And then I thought of this idea, well, let me start this campaign called Project Run 50. I will get in a car and I will drive across the country and I will start to go into these cities in the middle of nowhere and some of the most urban cities. And I will find out what's inspiring our community to run and why is it that only 5% of Latinos and less than 2% of African Americans are in these races. And I also found out that one of the most popular races or most popular things for people to do is run. So if that's such a huge sport in the United States, why is it such a small number of people of color that are active in it? And I would hear these stories, runners who were immigrants who came across the border with not a dime to their name, struggled, undocumented, and went to school, got a career, and now help people as nurses. Or a friend of mine who served in Afghanistan and Iraq and came back with severe PTSD, and he used running to help him to get through those issues so he didn't have to use medication. Or somebody who struggled with cancer and used running to beat their cancer. Or even my friends who started their own clubs throughout the country so that their kids didn't have to be like them. So to me, it became more inspirational. And through time, we end up having over 25,000 runners throughout the world that now work with us. We share each other's stories. We inspire each other each day. But one of the things I noticed when I got in my car, and by the way, I went to one of the most remote places in the world. I drove to the middle of nowhere in North Dakota, South Dakota. It's not that there wasn't Latinos out there. I was in places where there was nobody, literally nobody out there, okay? My GPS wasn't working, turned down the wrong road and went, oh, where am I? Okay, it was pretty much out there. But I started to go into these communities and I wanted to see what was happening between the upscale ones that I went to where the parks were beautiful and there was beautiful cafes and restaurants. And the moment you turn into these urban communities, you see a food desert, which is basically McDonald's, Burger King, the parks are dilapidated and, these people don't have as much access. And I was always asking, why? Why is this? Why is this? So for me, I started messaging my friends and I said, I really would like to work with a large company. There's a lot of companies out there, they take our money, they take our dollars, but they're not investing back into the community. So he says, it's not gonna work, not gonna happen. I said, well, why not? He said, because you're Latina, you're African American, nothing, they don't care to invest in those communities. And I said, that mindset is why we can't move forward. And I even had runners who said, why would you do an interview on TV? We don't need them to show them who we are. And I said, people react to what they see. When I go down the aisle of a supermarket and I see magazines, I see mostly a Caucasian on the cover, and I don't see anybody that looks like me. Or I see a billboard or a TV ad, and I can't understand if we represent such a large portion of this country, and if one generation we're gonna represent almost half the population, why is it that we're not on these ads? And what can we do to change that? Within 3 weeks or so, I got a phone call from Vice Media. Reebok wanted to do a story on us. So we end up doing that, and it's called Running Wild. You can see it online. And to me, that kind of inspired me to start reaching out to more and not allow people's negative thoughts to say that we shouldn't be highlighted, that we shouldn't represent ourselves, that we shouldn't be on billboards, deter me. So I end up meeting somebody from a car company, a multi-billion-dollar car company, head of marketing, and I asked her, why is it that companies like yours are not more present in urban communities? I get it that you guys find somebody on Instagram, that Instagram star, and you want to utilize her, but she's not on the ground working with the 25,000 people like we are. Why aren't you going into these communities and working with them? And her answer was, we don't know how to do it. And I couldn't believe it. How do you not know how to do it? You're taking billions of dollars every year from the same people that you don't know how to work with. Go into there, go invest in those communities. Go buy a park and clean it up or something. Go help build the street, because I know that for us to feel safe, to start getting more active, we have to have access to those things. And for me, I wanted to find a way to pretty much bridge the gap. I look at the statistics of what is going on in the Bronx. Out of New York State, it's rated one of the most unhealthiest counties in New York. And that shocked me, because across the bridge is Upper East Side, Upper West Side, and you have some of the most expensive properties, richest people you can imagine. So what is the difference? Why is it that a community that's just across the river could have such less access to things? So for me, that became my ask. And my ask is not just for you guys here, but for companies, for brands, for corporations, to get more involved and be more accountable, to put their dollars in the same places they're taking dollars from, right? So that's my ask for today. And, at the end of the day, like I said, this is a human race, and we really want to inspire the community, and we really have to bridge that gap. So in order to create change, we cannot hope for it. We cannot expect it. We have to work together to create it. Thank you so much.